Natasha, and in today's episode, we'll explore how to ask for help in English. This is a very useful skill, whether you're traveling, at work, or even talking with neighbors. But before we dive in, let me ask you a few questions. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you needed help but weren't sure how to ask in English? Maybe you were lost in a new city or struggling to understand something at work? Or have you ever wanted to ask someone for help, but the words just didn't come to you? By the end of today's episode, you'll learn useful phrases and techniques to ask for help confidently in various situations. You'll also hear real-life examples and stories that will help you practice and improve your listening and writing skills. So, make sure you listen carefully and even take some notes. And if you enjoy the episode, don't forget to press the like button. Now, let's get started. Imagine you're at a cafe in a new city. You don't understand the menu completely, and you need help. What do? You could approach the waiter and say, "Excuse me, could you help me with the menu? I'm not sure what this item is." This simple question can make a big difference. Let's say you're at work and your colleague, John, has a task you're not familiar with. You could ask, "Hi, John, I'm not sure how to do this. Could you please explain it to me?" It's polite and direct. You're asking for help, but in a way that shows you respect the other person's knowledge. One of the best ways to ask for help is to use polite phrases. Could you and would you mind are very polite ways to ask for assistance. For example, you could say, "Could you help me find my way to the library?" Or, "Would you mind giving me a hand with these bags?" These phrases are respectful and show that you value the person's time and effort. Let me tell you a quick story. A few months ago, I was traveling to a foreign country, and I got lost in a small town. The signs were in a language I didn't understand. I saw a woman walking by and asked, "Excuse me, could you help me find the train station?" She smiled and kindly pointed me in the right direction. In that moment, I was so thankful for knowing how to ask for help politely. Another situation where asking for help is important is when you're learning something new. My friend David, who is learning to play the guitar, often asks his teacher for help. He'll say things like, "Could you show me again how to play this chord?" Or, "Can you help me improve my finger position?" These phrases help him get the guidance he needs without feeling embarrassed. But asking for help isn't just about the words you use. It's also about your tone and body language. When you ask for help, make sure your tone is friendly and calm. Smile when you speak and keep your body language open. This will make the person you're asking feel more comfortable helping you. Now let's talk about some other situations where you might need help. Imagine you're at a store and you're looking for a specific item. You could approach a salesperson and say, "Excuse me, could you help me find the shampoo aisle?" Or, "Hi, I'm looking for a red shirt. Could you show me where they are?" These are simple but effective ways to ask for help in a store. There's also the situation when you're trying to understand a concept. At work or school, you might need to ask for clarification. You could say, "I'm not sure I understand. Could you explain that again, please?" This shows that you're actively learning and willing to ask questions to improve. Another important part of asking for help is knowing when to ask. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. It's better to ask for help than to struggle in silence. If you don't understand something, it's okay to speak up. People are usually happy to assist you if you ask politely. I remember once when I was studying for an exam. I didn't understand a certain topic, so I asked my classmate Mark to explain it to me. He was very patient and explained everything clearly. Thanks to his help, I was able to pass the exam with a good grade. If I hadn't asked for help, I might still have been stuck on that topic. So what have we learned so far? To ask for help. In English, use polite phrases like, "Could you?" or "Would you mind?" Be clear about what you need help with, and always say thank you. Also, pay attention to your tone and body language. Asking for help isn't just about the words you say, it's about the way you communicate. In your everyday life, you will find many opportunities to practice asking for help. Whether you're traveling, at work, or in a classroom, the ability to ask for help is an important skill. Don't hesitate to use these phrases when you need assistance. Now, let me share a final story with you. A friend of mine, Sarah, recently moved to a new city. She didn't know anyone, and she was feeling a little lost. One day, she needed help finding her way to a meeting. She asked a stranger on the street, "Excuse me, could you help me find the address for this meeting?" The person not only gave her directions, but also walked with her to make sure she arrived safely. That's the power of asking for help politely and clearly. It can create a connection with others. Let's move on to some more examples of how to ask for help in different situations. Suppose you're at a park and you see someone who looks like they know the area. You can ask, "Hi, could you tell me where the nearest restroom is?" This is simple, clear, and very polite. The person will likely be happy to help, and you can easily find what you need. Now, let's talk about asking for help in a work situation. Imagine you're at your job and you're not sure how to complete a task. Maybe you're working on a report and you don't know how to use a specific tool on the computer. You can go to a colleague like Tom and say, "Hey Tom, could you help me understand how to use this tool? I'm not familiar with it." This approach is friendly and shows that you're open to learning. Tom will probably be happy to show you how it works. Sometimes asking for help can be a bit more difficult if you're shy or worried about bothering someone. But here's the thing. Most people are happy to help. So don't be afraid to ask. For example, if you're in a store and you can't find what you're looking for, don't hesitate to ask a store employee. You could say, "Excuse me, could you help me find the kitchen section?" Or, "Hi, I'm looking for a gift. Could you suggest something?" This shows that you're taking the initiative and the employee is there to assist you. Let's take another example. Imagine you're learning to cook and you're following a recipe, but something is confusing. You could ask a friend, "Hey Alex, could you help me understand what simmer means in this recipe? I've never heard that word before." Asking for help like this is a great way to learn and improve your skills. Plus, Alex will appreciate that you're asking for clarification rather than guessing or making a mistake. Asking for help also works well in situations where you need more information. Let's say you're in a class, and your teacher, Mrs. Johnson, is explaining a difficult topic. You might feel unsure about some of the details. It's completely fine to ask, "Mrs. Johnson, could you explain that part again? I didn't quite catch it." This is a polite way to ask for help and shows that you're engaged and eager to understand. One important thing to keep in mind is that when you ask for help, you should always thank the person afterward. A simple, "Thank you for your help," or "I really appreciate it," goes a long way. It shows gratitude and makes the person feel good about assisting you. It also encourages them to help you again in the future if you need it. Let's go back to a real-life example. I was once at a bookstore looking for a specific book. I couldn't find it on the shelves, so I asked a worker named David, "Hi, could you help me find this book? It's called The Great Adventure." David smiled and led me right to the section I needed. He even suggested a few similar books I might like. Asking for help like this made my experience much easier, and I left the store happy with my new book. In another situation, you might be at the airport, and you need help with directions. You could ask an airport employee, "Excuse me, could you help me find gate 24? I'm a little confused." This is direct and clear, and the employee will likely give you the right directions. Airports can be large and busy, so asking for help in these situations is normal, and everyone is used to helping travelers. Sometimes you might need help with technology. Maybe you're using a new phone and you're not sure how to use a certain feature. Instead of guessing, you could ask a friend, "Hey, Chris, could you show me how to send a picture from this phone? I'm not sure how it works." Asking for help with technology is very common, and your friend will probably be happy to show you how it's done. Another important point is that asking for help doesn't mean you're weak or incapable. In fact, it shows that you're responsible and willing to learn. Everyone needs help from time to time, no matter their age or experience level. Whether you're asking for directions, advice, or a simple explanation, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. So, in every part of your life, whether at home, work, or when you're out in public, it's useful to know how to ask for help. You can ask politely and clearly, and you'll be more likely to get the assistance you need. Let's continue exploring more ways to ask for help in everyday situations. Imagine you're at a coffee shop and you don't know what to order. The menu might have some new drinks you've never heard of. You can ask the barista, "Excuse me, could you help me choose a drink? I'm not sure what to get." This is a friendly and simple way to ask for help. The barista might suggest a few popular options or recommend something based on your taste. It's a great example of how asking for help can turn a small moment into a better experience. Now, let's look at another situation where asking for help is important. When you're making a big decision. Let's say you're thinking about buying a new laptop, but you're not sure which one is the best choice for you. You could ask your friend Sarah, "Hey Sarah, could you help me pick a laptop? I'm not sure which one has the best features for my needs." By asking for help, you get advice from someone who might know more about technology or who has experience buying laptops. It's always a good idea to ask someone who has knowledge in a specific area when making decisions like this. Asking for help can also make your learning process easier. Let's say you're learning English, and there's a word you don't understand. You could ask your teacher, Mr. Williams, "Mr. Williams, could you help me understand the meaning of this word? I'm not sure how to use it in a sentence." This kind of question shows that you're taking an active role in your learning. It also shows that you're not afraid to ask for clarification when something is unclear. Teachers are there to help, and they will appreciate your effort to understand the material. Sometimes asking for help can be more about getting advice rather than solving a specific problem. For example, you might be planning a vacation and unsure about the best places to visit. You could ask your cousin Emma, "Hey Emma, could you help me choose a destination for my trip? I'm not sure where to go this year." Emma, who has traveled a lot, might give you suggestions based on her own experiences, helping you make a better decision. This is a perfect example of how asking for advice can improve your plans and make you feel more confident about your choices. Let's also talk about how to ask for help in a work environment. Imagine you're working on a team project and need some assistance with a presentation. You could approach your colleague Jack and say, "Hi Jack, could you help me with the slide design? I'm not sure how to make it look more professional." Jack may have experience with creating presentations, and his advice might help you improve the design. This is another example of asking for help in a way that feels natural and useful. Asking for help is also important when you're dealing with technology or equipment. Imagine you're trying to set up a new printer at home, but you're struggling with the instructions. Instead of wasting time, you could call your friend George, who's good with tech, and ask, "Hey George, could you help me set up this printer? I'm having trouble following the instructions." George will probably guide you through the process, and you'll have the printer working in no time. This is another situation where asking for help saves you time and frustration. Let's take a different example now, asking for help in a social situation. Imagine you're at a party and you're having trouble starting a conversation with someone you don't know. You could go to your friend Alice and say, "Alice, could you help me introduce myself to that person? I'm not sure how to start the conversation." Alice will likely give you a few pointers on how to approach the situation, and you'll feel more comfortable talking to the new person. Asking for help like this can help you feel more confident in social settings, especially when you're meeting new people. In all of these examples, notice that asking for help is never a sign of weakness. Instead, it's a sign of strength and willingness to learn. It shows that you're not afraid to seek support when needed, and that you value the help and knowledge of others. Whether you're asking for directions, advice, or assistance with a task, asking for help is an important skill that makes life easier and less stressful. Sometimes, you might hesitate to ask for help because you don't want to bother others or appear incompetent. But remember, most people are happy to help when you ask politely. In fact, people often feel good when they can assist someone else. They feel valued, and it gives them a sense of purpose to share their knowledge or skills. So, don't be afraid to reach out when you need help. You're not bothering anyone, you're just giving them the chance to contribute. Let's also talk about how to ask for help in more formal situations. Imagine you're in a meeting at work, and you don't fully understand what's being discussed. Instead of remaining silent, you could say, "Excuse me, could you clarify what you just mentioned about the budget? I'm not quite sure I follow." This is a respectful way to ask for help and make sure you understand the topic. It's important to ask for clarification in professional settings because it shows that you care about getting things right. Similarly, in a classroom, you might feel unsure about a particular lesson. If you're confused about something your teacher said, it's completely acceptable to ask for help. You could say, "Sorry to interrupt, but could you explain that concept again? I didn't quite understand the example." This shows that you're actively engaged in your learning and that you want to fully understand the material. Teachers are happy to help their students and will appreciate your effort to ask questions. Now, let's look at how asking for help can also improve your confidence. When you ask for help, you're showing that you're willing to learn and grow. This can help you feel more confident because you're not pretending to know something. You don't. You're being honest about where you need assistance, and that's a great way to build trust with others. Whether it's asking a colleague for help at work or asking a friend for advice, each time you ask for help, you're practicing and improving your communication skills. For example, let's say you're planning to give a presentation at work, but you're feeling nervous about speaking in front of an audience. You could ask a colleague like Ben, could you help me practice my speech? I'm feeling a little nervous about it." Ben might give you feedback on your presentation and help you feel more prepared. This practice not only makes you more confident, but it also helps you communicate better and improve your public speaking skills. Asking for help also helps you build relationships. When you ask someone for help, you're showing that you trust them and value their opinion. This creates a bond between you and the person you're asking. For example, if you ask your friend, Lily, for advice on a decision and she gives you good suggestions, you'll likely feel closer to her because she helped you. This strengthens your connection and encourages you to support each other in the future. In all of these situations, asking for help in English can help you improve your language skills as well. By practicing asking for help in different contexts, you'll become more comfortable using English in real-life situations. The more you practice, the easier it will become to communicate with others in English, whether you're asking for directions, advice, or assistance with a task. Let's dive deeper into how asking for help can be a valuable tool in many situations. It's not just about solving problems, but also about building stronger connections, improving your skills, and becoming more confident in various aspects of life. As you keep practicing asking for help, you'll realize how much easier it can make your day-to-day activities and interactions with others. Let's continue by looking at some more scenarios where asking for help is useful, and we'll break down how to make the most out of these opportunities. Let's say you're at a bus station and you're not sure how to get to a certain place in the city. Maybe the bus routes are confusing and you're worried about taking the wrong one. You can approach a local person, like James, and politely ask, "Excuse me, James, could you help me figure out which bus goes to the museum? I'm not, sure which one to take." By asking this question clearly, you're not only getting the help you need, but you're also practicing your listening and speaking skills in real-life situations. James, being a local, will likely have no problem giving you the right directions, and you'll have a smooth trip. This is a great example of how asking for help can make your day easier, especially when navigating unfamiliar places. Now imagine you're at a grocery store and need help finding a product. Maybe you're looking for a special type of cheese that you've never seen before. Instead of walking around aimlessly, you can ask an employee like Emma, "Hi, Emma, could you help me find the cheese section? I'm looking for something specific, but I'm not sure where it is." Emma can guide you to the right aisle and might even suggest some options you hadn't considered. In this case, asking for help not only solves your problem, but also makes your shopping experience smoother and more enjoyable. Let's take another situation where asking for help can be extremely useful. When you're cooking and following a complicated recipe. You might be preparing a dish with ingredients or steps you've never used before, and it's easy to feel lost or confused. Instead of continuing to guess, you can call your mom, Sarah, and ask, "Mom, could you help me with this recipe? I'm not sure how to chop the vegetables properly." Sarah, who has more experience in the kitchen, will guide you through the process and might even give you some useful tips that make cooking easier. This is a great example of how asking for help allows you to learn from others and improve your skills, whether it's in the kitchen or any other area of your life. Asking for help is also valuable when you're dealing with something that feels overwhelming or stressful, like a big work project. Imagine you're working on a presentation that requires you to create complex charts and graphs. You're stuck on how to make the data look clear and easy to understand. Instead of spending hours trying to figure it out on your own, you could reach out to a colleague like Michael and say, "Hi, Michael, I'm struggling with making these charts. Could you help me organize the data better?" Michael might have experience with creating presentations and could show you a few tricks to make your charts look more professional. By asking for help, you not only get your work done more efficiently, but you also learn something new that will help you in future projects. In some situations, asking for help is a great way to build better relationships. For instance, imagine you're attending a meeting with a group of colleagues, and you're asked to contribute an idea for an upcoming project. You're not completely sure how to approach it, so you turn to your teammate, Olivia, and ask, "Olivia, do you have any ideas on how I could improve this presentation? I'm a bit stuck." Olivia, who's been working on similar projects, might suggest a few changes that help you present your idea more clearly. Not only did you get help, but you also built trust with Olivia, and you both gained from the exchange of ideas. This shows that asking for help doesn't just solve a problem. It strengthens your teamwork and communication skills. Sometimes, asking for help is necessary for personal growth. For example, let's say you're trying to improve your fitness routine, but you're not sure if you're doing the exercises correctly. You could ask your friend, Tom, who's more experienced at the gym, "Tom, could you show me the proper form for squats? I'm worried I'm doing it wrong." By asking for help, you're not only ensuring that you're doing the exercise correctly, but you're also learning from someone who has more experience. Asking for help in a situation like this can prevent injuries and help you improve your performance over time. When it comes to learning new skills, asking for help is also a key part of the process. Let's say you're learning how to play the guitar, and you're struggling with a chord progression. Instead of feeling frustrated, you could reach out to your friend Jack, who's a guitarist, and say, "Hey Jack, could you help me with this chord progression? I'm having trouble switching between the chords." Jack can demonstrate the correct technique, and with a little practice, you'll be playing like a pro. This is another example of how asking for help can make learning new skills easier and more enjoyable. It's also a great way to connect with others who share your interests. Let's take a look at a more everyday example. Asking for help when you're cleaning or doing housework. Imagine you're washing the dishes, but you're not sure how to properly clean a delicate dish. Instead of risking damaging it, you could ask your husband, Daniel, "Daniel, could you show me the best way to clean this? I don't want to break it." Daniel, who's had experience with delicate dishes, can show you the proper technique. This type of help is something we all need from time to time, and asking for help makes life easier, even with small tasks. It shows that you're willing to learn and makes the process of doing chores less stressful. Now let's think about situations where asking for help could be a bit more formal. For instance, if you're attending a workshop or seminar and you don't understand something the speaker is saying, it's perfectly okay to ask for help. After the session, you could approach the speaker, Dr. Williams, and politely ask, "Dr. Williams, could you explain that part about the new research? I didn't quite understand the methodology." Dr. Williams would likely be happy to explain further, and this shows that you're actively participating in the learning process. Asking for help in such settings demonstrates that you value the information and want to fully grasp the topic being discussed. Let's also consider how asking for help can improve your emotional well-being. When you're going through a tough time or feeling stressed, reaching out for support can make all the difference. You could call a close friend like Anna and say, "Anna, I've been feeling really overwhelmed lately. Could you lend me an ear? I need someone to talk to." Talking to a friend or loved one about your struggles can help you feel lighter and more supported. By asking for emotional help, you can work through your challenges together, making it easier to cope with difficult situations. This type of help is just as important as any practical assistance you might need and is essential for maintaining a healthy and balanced life. In every situation, whether it's asking for help with a physical task, learning something new, or seeking emotional support, asking for help is a powerful tool. It helps you get the job done, build stronger relationships, and gives you the confidence to keep going, no matter the challenge. So, whether you're asking for directions, advice, or support, remember that it's not just about solving problems. It's about growing, learning, and improving in every aspect of your life. Let's imagine a situation where you're starting a new job and you feel a little bit out of place because you're still learning the ropes. This is a common situation where asking for help can be beneficial. You're at your new office, and you're not entirely sure how to use the company's system for submitting reports. Instead of feeling lost and frustrated, you could approach your colleague, James, and ask, "Hi, James. I'm having some trouble navigating the system for submitting reports. Could you help me understand how it works?" James, who is more familiar with the system, could guide you through the steps. He might even give you a few shortcuts that would save you time. By asking for help in this situation, you not only solve your immediate problem, but also build rapport with your coworkers, showing them that you're eager to learn and collaborate. Now, let's take a look at asking for help in a different type of situation, when you're facing a challenging project at school or university. Imagine you're a university student and you're working on a complicated research paper. You've gathered a lot of information, but you're not sure how to organize it or what the best structure for your paper would be. Instead of struggling on your own, you decide to ask your professor, Dr. Harris, for guidance. You could say, "Dr. Harris, I'm having trouble organizing my research. Could you give me some advice on how to structure my paper?" Dr. Harris could explain how to create an outline, suggest different ways to present your ideas, and even point you toward useful resources. By asking for help, you not only improve your academic skills, but also establish a good relationship with your professor, who can continue to offer valuable advice throughout your studies. Asking for help in a social situation can also be a great way to learn about cultural differences and improve your understanding of how to interact with people in various settings. For example, let's say you're attending a party hosted by your colleague, Laura. You don't know many people at the event and you're feeling a little uncomfortable. You could approach Laura and say, "Laura, I don't know anyone here. Could you introduce me to some people?" Laura, being a good host, would be happy to introduce you to others and make you feel more comfortable. By asking for help in this situation, you not only make new friends, but you also learn how to better navigate social situations in a new culture, which can help you in future events. Asking for help can also play a crucial role when you're dealing with a tough situation, such as managing stress. For example, imagine you've been feeling overwhelmed by your workload. You have multiple tasks that need to be completed, and you're unsure how to manage everything. You could approach your colleague, Emily, and say, "Emily, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed by my tasks. Do you have any tips for managing my time better?" Emily, who has good time management skills, might share some strategies that work well for her, such as breaking tasks into smaller pieces or using a task management tool like Trello. By asking for help, you're learning how to manage your time more effectively, which can reduce your stress and increase your productivity. In another example, suppose you've been trying to learn a new skill, like playing the guitar, but you're struggling to make progress. You've been practicing for a while, but you can't seem to get the hang of it. Instead of feeling discouraged, you could ask your friend, Ben, for help. You could say, "Ben, I'm having trouble with the chords. Can you show me how to do it properly?" Ben, who has more experience playing guitar, could offer you some useful tips. He might demonstrate how to position your fingers on the fretboard and give you advice on how to improve your technique. By asking for help, you can improve your guitar skills more quickly and avoid developing bad habits that might hinder your progress. In situations like this, where you're learning something new, asking for help can speed up the learning process and make it more enjoyable. Whether you're trying to master a musical instrument, a new language, or any other skill, getting guidance from someone with more experience can be incredibly valuable. Now let's talk about a scenario where asking for help could help you improve your health. Imagine you've been trying to get into better shape, but you're not sure where to start. You could ask your personal trainer, Peter, "I'm not sure how to create a workout routine. Can you help me come up with one that fits my goals?" Peter could create a workout plan tailored to your fitness level and goals, whether it's building strength, improving flexibility, or increasing endurance. He might also offer advice on healthy eating habits and lifestyle changes that can complement your exercise routine. By asking for help, you're making smarter choices when it comes to improving your physical health, and you're setting yourself up for long-term success. Asking for help can also be useful when it comes to managing finances. Suppose you're working on your budget and trying to save money, but you're not sure how to track your expenses or where to start. You could ask your friend David, who's good with money. "David, do you have any tips on how to manage my finances better?" David could suggest using budgeting apps, setting specific savings goals, or even planning your spending around needs versus wants. By asking for help, you're learning valuable financial skills that will benefit you for years to come. Asking for help can also be incredibly beneficial when you're trying to understand complex or unfamiliar topics, such as learning new technical skills or navigating difficult processes. Imagine you're studying for an exam in a subject like math, but you're stuck on a particular topic. Instead of trying to force yourself to figure it out alone, you could ask a classmate like Alice, "Alice, I don't understand this chapter on calculus. Can you explain it to me?" Alice, who is confident in math, could break down the concept in a way that makes it easier for you to understand. By asking for help, you not only get the answers you need, but you also learn how to approach similar problems in the future. Finally, asking for help can be a great way to build trust and relationships. Whether it's asking a family member for support, seeking advice from a colleague, or simply reaching out to a friend, asking for help is a way to to show that you value their input and care about their perspective. This can strengthen your connections with others and create a supportive environment where you feel comfortable reaching out in the future. Let's continue by looking at more examples of asking for help and how it can not only improve your English skills but also help you in various aspects of your life. Remember, asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. In fact, it's often a sign of strength, as it shows you're willing to learn, grow, and work with others. The more you practice asking for help, the more confident you'll become in your ability to handle different situations in English, whether at work, in your personal life, or when learning new skills. Let's start by imagining a situation where you're traveling to a foreign country for the first time. You don't speak the language fluently, and you're trying to find your way around the city. You're at the train station and need help finding the right platform to catch your train. You see a local person standing near the information desk and you approach them politely. You say, "Excuse me, could you please help me find the right platform for the train to Oxford?" The person smiles and kindly explains the directions, perhaps even walking you to the correct platform. By asking for help in this situation, you're able to navigate the city more confidently, and you get to practice speaking English in a real-life setting. Plus, by interacting with a local, you learn a bit more about the culture, which can make your trip even more enjoyable. This situation also highlights another important point. Asking for help in English is a great way to improve your listening skills. When the local person gives you directions, you'll need to pay attention carefully to understand what they're saying. This helps you practice listening to different accents and speech patterns, which is crucial for becoming a better listener. Over time, you'll notice that you can understand English more easily, even when it's spoken quickly or with unfamiliar accents. Now, let's look at a different situation, asking for help when you're trying to make a decision about something. Important. Imagine you've been thinking about buying a new laptop for a while. You've done some research, but there are so many options, and you're not sure which one is the best for your needs. Instead of making a decision based on incomplete information, you ask your friend Tom, who is very knowledgeable about technology. You say, "Tom, I'm thinking of buying a new laptop, but there are so many options. Can you help me choose the best one for work and personal use?" Tom can then explain the differences between the models, tell you about the features you should look for, and even give you advice on which one fits your budget. By asking for help, you're not only making an informed decision, but you're also learning about the technology, which helps you improve your vocabulary and understanding of English when discussing topics related to gadgets and tech. Let's move to another situation, asking for help in a more professional context. Imagine you're working on a team project at your company, and you're responsible for writing a report. You've written the first draft, but you're not sure if it's clear enough or if you've covered everything that needs to be addressed. You decide to ask your colleague Sarah for feedback. You could say, "Sarah, could you please take a look at my report and let me know if you think I missed anything or if it's clear enough?" Sarah reads your report and gives you some constructive feedback, pointing out areas where you could improve your writing and suggesting changes to make your ideas clearer. By asking for help in this situation, you not only improve your writing, but also learn new techniques for giving and receiving feedback, which is an essential skill in any professional setting. In addition to professional situations, asking for help can also be valuable in your personal life when you're managing tasks at home. Let's say you're trying to fix something around the house, maybe a leaky faucet. You've never done plumbing work before, and you're not sure where to start. Instead of making things worse by trying to do it yourself, you decide to ask your neighbor Mark, who's experienced with home repairs, for help. You say, "Mark, I have a leaky faucet and I'm not sure how to fix it. Could you help me out?" Mark gladly gives you a hand and explains the steps you need to take to fix the problem. Not only do you learn how to repair the faucet, but You also gain some confidence in your ability to handle similar tasks in the future. By asking for help, you save time and avoid making costly mistakes. Asking for help can also improve your communication skills when you're working with a group of people. Let's say you're part of a study group for your university exam, and you're struggling to understand a complex topic, such as the theory behind quantum physics. You're not sure how to apply the concepts, so you ask your friend, Lucy, who is more advanced in the subject. You ask, "Lucy, I'm having trouble understanding this concept in quantum physics. Can you explain it to me in a simpler way?" Lucy might give you a more straightforward explanation, or even provide a real-world example that makes the theory easier to understand. By asking for help in this situation, you not only improve your understanding of the topic, but you also practice using English in a technical context. One of the biggest benefits of asking for help in English is that it helps you build your confidence. Many learners of English are afraid to speak because they worry about making mistakes or sounding silly. However, asking for help shows that you are willing to take risks and engage with others in English. It's important to remember that everyone makes mistakes, native speakers included, and asking for help is a way of learning and growing. Whether you're asking for directions, for advice, or for assistance with a task, each time you speak to someone in English, you're improving your skills and becoming more comfortable with the language. In a similar way, asking for help in English can also encourage you to become more proactive in your learning. Instead of waiting for someone to explain something to you, you can take the initiative and ask for clarification when you're unsure about something. This can apply to a variety of learning situations, such as understanding grammar rules, improving pronunciation, or even learning new vocabulary. For example, imagine you're studying English on your own, and you come across a word you don't understand. Instead of skipping over it or guessing its meaning, you could ask a friend or teacher, "What does this word mean, and how can I use it in a sentence?" By taking this approach, you're actively engaging with the language, which will help you retain information and improve your understanding over time. Let's also look at how asking for help can help you navigate difficult situations, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed. Imagine you're working on a tight deadline for a project at work. You're feeling pressure and don't know how to finish everything on time. You could approach your manager, Robert, and ask, "Robert, I'm feeling overwhelmed with the workload and the deadline. Could you help me prioritize the tasks and guide me on how to approach this?" Robert can offer valuable advice on how to break down the tasks and allocate your time more effectively. By asking for help in this situation, you not only reduce your stress, but you also learn how to manage difficult situations more effectively, which can improve your problem-solving skills and boost your confidence. Asking for help is also valuable when it comes to improving your personal development. Let's say you're learning a new language, like French, but you're struggling with pronunciation. You could ask a French-speaking friend, like Claire, for help. You could say, "Claire, I'm having trouble pronouncing certain words in French. Could you help me practice?" Claire could listen to your pronunciation and provide feedback, helping you fine-tune your skills. By asking for help, you're improving not only your French, but also your listening and speaking skills in English, as you learn how to ask for help in different languages and apply these skills to various learning contexts. By now, you should be able to see how asking for help can open up many opportunities for learning, growth, and improving your communication skills in English. Whether you're trying to solve a problem, improve your skills, or simply navigate through a challenging situation, asking for help is a valuable tool that can lead to success. Let's continue by looking at even more examples of how asking for help can enhance your skills and boost your confidence in different areas of your life. Not only does asking for help make you more confident in English, but it also encourages collaboration, builds relationships, and helps you learn valuable lessons. The key is understanding that asking for help is not about weakness. It's about embracing the opportunity to improve and grow. Let's dive deeper into how asking for help can benefit you in various real-life situations and how you can use these experiences to practice your English in an engaging way. Let's imagine a work-related scenario. You're part of a team working on a big project, and you're tasked with preparing a presentation. You've never made a presentation like this before, and you're not sure if you're following the right structure. Instead of struggling in silence or feeling lost, you ask your colleague James for help. You could say, "James, I'm working on this presentation for the team, but I'm not sure if I'm following the right structure. Can you take a look at it and give me some feedback?" James agrees and looks over your slides. He provides valuable suggestions on how to organize your ideas better and how to make your message clearer. By asking for help, you're able to improve the presentation and feel more confident about presenting it to your team. Additionally, you're learning from someone else's experience and using their feedback to enhance your skills. This situation highlights how asking for help in a work context allows you to develop essential professional skills, such as collaboration, giving and receiving constructive feedback, and presenting ideas clearly. These are skills that will not only improve your work performance, but also help you in future career opportunities. Plus, when you ask for help at work, you demonstrate that you're committed to doing your best and learning from others, which can build trust and respect among your colleagues. Now let's think about asking for help in a personal context. Imagine you're trying to learn how to cook a new recipe. You've never tried making homemade pasta before, but you've always wanted to learn. You've watched some YouTube videos, but you're still unsure about some of the steps. You decide to ask your friend, Sophie, who's an excellent cook, for assistance. You say, "Sophie, I'm trying to make pasta from scratch, but I'm not sure if I'm kneading the dough correctly. Can you show me how it's done?" Sophie agrees and walks you through the steps. As she demonstrates, she explains some useful tips and tricks to make the pasta dough perfect. By asking for help in this situation, you not only learn a new skill, but also practice your English by communicating clearly and effectively. You get to use vocabulary related to cooking and food preparation, which broadens your language skills and makes the conversation more dynamic. This situation also shows the importance of asking for help when you want to learn new hobbies or develop new skills. Asking for help in English in these contexts will expose you to new vocabulary and phrases that you can use in a variety of situations. Plus, you're gaining hands-on experience, which is often the best way to learn. By using real-life scenarios, like cooking or learning a new sport, you're able to practice your English in a practical, enjoyable way. In another example, let's consider asking for help when you're doing something that requires technical knowledge. Imagine you've decided to fix a problem with your home's Wi-Fi connection. You've tried everything you can think of, but nothing seems to work. Rather than giving up or getting frustrated, you ask your friend, Michael, who's good with technology, for help. You say, "Michael, my Wi-Fi isn't working and I don't know what to do. Can you help me figure out what's going on?" Michael walks you through some troubleshooting steps and explains the terms involved, such as router, signal strength, and IP address. By asking for help, you learn not only how to solve the problem, but also gain a better understanding of the technology. Plus, you practice your technical English and expand your vocabulary, which could be useful if you ever need to explain the issue to someone else. Asking for help with technical issues like fixing a Wi-Fi connection or troubleshooting a computer problem is a great way to learn new technical vocabulary and become more confident in your problem-solving skills. You'll likely come across new terms that you can use in conversations with others, and over time, you'll feel more comfortable discussing these topics in English. Let's now talk about asking for help in a situation where you're learning something new, but you're not sure how to get started. Imagine you're learning to play a musical instrument like the guitar. You're very excited about it, but you're not sure where to begin. You could ask your friend Tom, who has been playing the guitar for years. You could say, "Tom, Got a guitar, but I don't know where to start. Can you help me learn the basics? Tom gladly offers advice on how to tune the guitar, what chords to start with, and how to practice regularly. By asking for help, you're gaining a structured approach to learning, and you're also using English to explain your learning process. This can improve both your speed. This scenario is a good example of how asking for help can make learning more efficient and enjoyable. Whether you're learning a musical instrument, a new sport, or a creative hobby, asking for help is a smart way to avoid frustration and make progress faster. The more you practice asking for help in English, the more confident you will feel in your ability to communicate and learn. Let's look at another example. Asking for help when you're struggling with something that might be a bit more personal. Imagine you've been feeling stressed lately because of work and other responsibilities. You've been trying to manage everything on your own, but you're starting to feel overwhelmed. Instead of keeping everything to yourself, you decide to ask your family for help. You could talk to your husband, Mark, and say, "Mark, I've been feeling really stressed out lately. Could you help me figure out how to manage everything better?" Mark listens attentively and suggests some ways to prioritize your tasks, take breaks, and ask for help from others when necessary. By opening up and asking for help, you not only relieve some of your stress, but also strengthen your relationship with Mark. You also practice using English to talk about your feelings, which is an important skill for expressing yourself in any language. Asking for help with personal struggles, such as managing stress or balancing responsibilities, is a great way to practice your English in an emotionally supportive environment. It helps you become more comfortable with expressing your emotions in English, which is a valuable skill in both personal and professional contexts. Another important benefit of asking for help in English is that it allows you to improve your social skills. Let's say you're attending a social event, like a dinner party, and you're not sure what to talk about. You might feel a little nervous because you don't know the people very well, but instead of avoiding the conversation, you decide to ask someone for help. You approach your colleague, Emily, and say, "Emily, I don't know many people here. Can you introduce me to some of your friends?" Emily is happy to introduce you, and you start chatting with some new people. By asking for help in this social situation, you not only improve your ability to make friends and start conversations, but also practice English in a relaxed, informal setting. You learn how to use polite phrases such as, "Can you help me?" and "Would you mind introducing me to someone?" These are useful phrases that can be used in various social situations. Lastly, let's talk about asking for help in a learning environment. Imagine you're attending an English class and you're struggling with some of the grammar rules. Instead of giving up or feeling frustrated, you ask your teacher, Mr. James, for help. You say, "Mr. James, I'm having trouble understanding the past perfect tense. Could you explain it to me again?" Mr. James is happy to help, and he gives you a detailed explanation, using examples that help you grasp the concept. By asking for help, you not only improve your understanding of the grammar point, but also practice communicating in English. The more you ask for help, the better your English will become, as you'll be learning from experts and gaining a deeper understanding of the language. These examples demonstrate how asking for help in different areas of life can improve your English skills, build your confidence, and help you develop important life skills. Whether it's at work, with friends, at home, or in your studies, asking for help is a valuable tool for success. Keep practicing this skill, and you'll see how much more comfortable and confident you become in English. Asking for help is a powerful tool that allows you to grow, not only in your language skills, but in your overall ability to navigate life's challenges. It's essential to remember that asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, but rather a strength. It shows your willingness to learn, improve, and make better decisions. Let's dive deeper into how you can practice asking for help in everyday situations and improve your English while doing so. Imagine you've just moved into a new apartment. You've unpacked most of your things, but you realize that some of the furniture needs to be assembled. You've never put together furniture before and the instructions seem confusing. Instead of trying to figure it out alone and getting frustrated, you reach out to your neighbor, Richard, who has experience with this kind of thing. You say, "Hi, Richard, I'm trying to put together this bookshelf, but the instructions are confusing. Could you help me figure it out?" Richard agrees, and together you manage to build the bookshelf. Not only do you successfully assemble the furniture, but you also learn a lot from Richard's experience. He explains certain techniques and gives you tips that make the process much smoother. This is a perfect example of how asking for help in a practical situation can teach you new skills, improve your confidence, and even help you make new connections, all while practicing your English. This situation also highlights how asking for help can be a great way to practice specific vocabulary. While working with Richard, you might learn new words like screwdriver, assembly, manual, and instructions. You might also pick up phrases like tighten the screws, follow the steps, and assemble the parts. These words and phrases are commonly used in everyday life, especially when doing DIY projects or housework. By asking for help, you're naturally learning vocabulary that's useful and practical for your daily routine, which helps you become more confident and comfortable using English in similar situations. Let's shift gears and think about another everyday situation, where asking for help can improve both your English and your general life skills. Suppose you're planning a trip abroad and need help booking a flight. While you could use an online service, you're not sure about the best options for your schedule and budget. Instead of feeling lost, you decide to ask your friend, Sarah, for help. Sarah has traveled a lot, and she's great at finding the best deals on flights. You ask her, "Sarah, I'm planning a trip to Spain, but I'm not sure when the best time to book is. Can you help me find a good flight?" Sarah gives you some valuable advice on how to find affordable flights, including when to book and which websites to use. As a result, you not only save money but also gain a better understanding of the process of booking flights. You're also practicing English as you explain your plans and learn new vocabulary related to travel, such as flight options, round trip, ticket prices, and layovers. In addition to learning new words, asking for help in travel-related situations improves your listening skills as you pay close attention to what your friend Sarah is saying. You're also developing important skills that will help you in the future when you're planning trips or discussing travel with others. Being able to communicate clearly in English about travel can open up many opportunities for you, whether it's traveling for leisure, work, or study. Let's explore another scenario where asking for help can enhance your English skills. Imagine you've recently started a new job and your manager, David, has given you a task that involves analyzing data using a software program you're not familiar with. You've tried figuring it out on your own, but you're struggling. Instead of wasting time and feeling frustrated, you decide to ask David for help. You say, "David, I'm not very familiar with this software, and I'm having trouble analyzing the data. Could you show me how to do it?" David takes the time to walk you through the steps and explains the key features of the software. He also gives you some tips on how to use it more efficiently. Thanks to his help, you not only complete the task successfully, but you also learn new skills that will help you in your job in the future. This example shows how asking for help in the workplace is not only about solving a problem, but also about expanding your knowledge and improving your professional skills. By asking for help, you demonstrate that you're open to learning and eager to do your best. You also improve your English vocabulary related to your job, such as data analysis, software, features, troubleshoot, and work process. The more you ask for help in your work environment, the better you'll understand your job and the more confident you'll feel in your professional life. Now let's talk about asking for help in social situations. Suppose you're invited to a dinner party hosted by a friend, Emily, and you don't know many people there. You might feel a little nervous, but instead of avoiding the conversation, you decide to ask Emily to introduce you to someone. You say, Emily, I don't know many people here. Could you introduce me to some of your friends? Emily happily agrees, and soon you find yourself talking to a few new people, including Tom and Rachel. You engage in friendly conversations, and before you know it, you're feeling more relaxed and enjoying the evening. By asking for help in this social setting, you not only make new connections, but also practice speaking and listening in English. You're able to use everyday phrases such as, "Can you introduce me?" and "It's nice to meet you," while practicing the social skills needed to start and maintain conversations in a foreign language. This scenario demonstrates how asking for help can improve your confidence in social settings. Social interactions in English can be challenging, especially when you're in a new environment or don't know many people. But by reaching out and asking for help, you make the process easier and more enjoyable. You're also able to learn new phrases and vocabulary that will help you in other social situations in the future. Let's consider another situation where asking for help can be beneficial for both your personal and professional development. Imagine you're trying to learn a new skill like graphic design, but you're struggling to understand the software. Instead of getting discouraged, you decide to ask your colleague, Lisa, who's an expert in graphic design, for help. You say, "Lisa, I'm trying to learn how to use this design software, but I'm having trouble with some of the tools. Could you show me how to use them?" Lisa agrees and walks you through some basic steps. She explains how to use the tools effectively and shares some tips to improve your designs. By asking for help, you not only enhance your design skills, but also learn valuable English vocabulary related to the field, such as layers, fonts, color palette, and image resolution. Asking for help in areas like graphic design, coding, or any other technical field can help you expand your professional knowledge and improve your English in specific areas. This practice also makes you more comfortable with asking for guidance in a professional setting, which is crucial for long-term success. You'll also be able to explain your work more clearly and confidently in English, whether you're discussing design concepts, technical problems, or solutions. Finally, let's consider a more personal situation where asking for help can have a big impact on your well-being. Imagine you're feeling overwhelmed with your daily responsibilities, and you've been struggling to manage your time effectively. Instead of trying to do everything by yourself, you ask your husband, George, for help. You might say, "George, I've been feeling really stressed lately with all the things I need to do. Could you help me organize my tasks and create a plan?" George takes the time to listen to your concerns and helps you break down your tasks into manageable steps. He also gives you some advice on how to prioritize your tasks and make time for yourself. By asking for help, you not only reduce your stress, but also strengthen your relationship with George. You also practice speaking English in a more personal and intimate setting, which helps you feel more comfortable using English in a variety of contexts. This example shows how asking for help can not only improve your language skills, but also enhance your personal well-being. By reaching out to others for support, you learn to balance your responsibilities and take better care of yourself. You also develop better communication skills as you're learning to express your needs and feelings in English. By now, you can see how asking for help in a variety of situations, from work to social gatherings to personal life, can improve your English and increase your confidence in speaking. It's a valuable skill that will serve you in many areas of your life. Keep practicing asking for help, and you'll continue to grow both in your language skills and your overall life skills. Remember, every time you ask for help, you're taking a step toward becoming better at English and more capable in all aspects of life. Asking for help is one of those skills that can transform how we approach challenges, both big and small. It's easy to feel like we should do everything on our own, but sometimes reaching out for help can make life much easier and more enjoyable. It's an essential skill, especially in a second language like English, where communicating effectively can sometimes feel intimidating. In this section, let's dive deeper into how you can practice asking for help, improving not only your English but your ability to handle everyday situations with confidence. Let's explore a variety of real-life scenarios where asking for help is important and practical. Imagine you've just started a new job at an office in a busy city. You've settled into your desk, and your manager, John, has given you your first assignment. It's a report that you need to submit by the end of the week, but the format seems complicated and you're not sure if you're doing it right. Instead of stressing out and trying to figure it out alone, you decide to ask John for help. You walk over to his office and say, "Hi, John. I'm working on the report, but I'm not sure if I'm following the right format. Could you take a look and give me some guidance?" John's response is supportive and helpful. He explains the format clearly, gives you some tips on structuring the report, and even shares an example from a previous report. Thanks to his guidance, you complete the assignment with confidence and submit it on time. This situation not only helped you learn about your job and the tasks at hand, but it also gave you the opportunity to practice your English in a professional setting. By asking for help, you learned new vocabulary such as report, format, assignment, and guidance. These are all common words used in the workplace, and by hearing them in context, you become more familiar with their meanings and how to use them effectively. Moreover, asking for help in this situation helps you practice clear, concise communication. You're expressing your need, explaining the issue, and requesting specific assistance, all of which are crucial skills in both professional and everyday conversations. Let's consider another common scenario where asking for help can improve your English and your day-to-day life. Imagine you're attending a friend's wedding and you don't know many people there. You feel a little uncomfortable because you're not sure how to start conversations with others. Instead of sitting by yourself or feeling awkward, you decide to ask your close friend Emma for help. You approach her and say, "Emma, I don't really know anyone here and I'm not sure how to start a conversation with someone. Can you introduce me to some people?" Emma gladly agrees and introduces you to several guests at the wedding. She also gives you some helpful conversation starters like, "What do you do for work?" Or, "How do you know the couple?" With Emma's support, you're able to engage in friendly conversations with others, make new connections, and enjoy the wedding much more. In this example, asking for help not only helped you feel more comfortable in a social setting, but also gave you the chance to practice speaking English in real-life situations. By introducing yourself to new people and having conversations, you're practicing common social phrases such as, "Nice to meet you," "What do you do?" and "How do you know the bride and groom?" These phrases are frequently used in casual conversations, and using them in context helps you understand their meaning and usage better. Now let's imagine a situation where you're in a new country, and you're still getting used to the public transportation system. You're trying to get to a popular tourist spot, but you're not sure which bus to take or where to buy tickets. Instead of wandering around aimlessly, you decide to ask a local for help. You approach a woman named Claire at the bus stop and ask, "Hi, I'm trying to get to the museum. Could you tell me which bus I need to take and where I can buy the ticket?" Claire smiles and explains the best route for you. She also points you in the direction of the ticket booth and tells you when the next bus will arrive. Thanks to Claire's help, you arrive at the museum without any problems. This situation is a great example of how asking for help in English can teach you useful travel-related vocabulary, such as bus stop, ticket booth, route, tourist spot, and next bus. These are essential words and phrases to know when navigating a new city or country, and by asking for help, you learn them in context. Additionally, asking for help in this situation helps you practice your listening skills, as you must pay attention to the directions Claire is giving you. You also practice your speaking skills, as you have to clearly express your needs and understand the response. Let's explore a situation that many people face: asking for help with learning a new skill. Imagine you're trying to learn how to bake bread, but you've never done it before, and the recipe seems overwhelming. Instead of feeling discouraged, you decide to ask your friend, Mark, who is an expert baker, for help. You call him up and say, "Hey Mark, I'm trying to bake bread, but I'm not sure how to knead the dough properly. Can you show me what I'm doing wrong?" Mark invites you over and demonstrates the correct way to knead the dough. He also explains the science behind bread making and gives you some tips for ensuring the bread rises properly. Thanks to Mark's help, you not only learn how to bake bread, but also gain a deeper understanding of the process. Asking for help is more than just a practical skill. It's a way of building relationships, learning new things, and growing in confidence. In fact, when you ask for help, you're not only gaining assistance but also strengthening your communication abilities, especially in English. Being able to express your needs clearly, ask for guidance, and understand the answers can make all the difference in both personal and professional settings. It's important to realize that asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. In fact, it can be a sign of strength because it shows that you are resourceful and open to learning. Let's dive into more real-life examples that will help you understand how to ask for help effectively and improve your English skills at the same time. Imagine you've just moved to a new city for your job and you're feeling overwhelmed. Everything is unfamiliar, and you don't know where to go for basic things like groceries or how to get around. The first few days can be quite challenging. Instead of trying to do everything on your own, you decide to ask your new colleague, Sarah, for help. You approach her and say, "Hi, Sarah, I've just moved to the city, and I'm still trying to get familiar with the area. Can you recommend a good place to buy groceries and maybe give me some tips on getting around?" Sarah is very understanding and offers you some helpful advice. She tells you about a nearby supermarket and gives you directions on how to get there. She also explains how the local bus system works and where you can find a schedule. Thanks to Sarah's help, you quickly adjust to your new environment. This scenario highlights the importance of being able to ask for help in a new place. You not only learned about the city's layout and where to buy groceries, but you also picked up useful vocabulary and phrases such as recommend, getting around, supermarket, directions, and bus system. These are everyday words you'll use in similar situations, and understanding them will make it easier for you to navigate any city. By asking Sarah for help, you practice speaking in a real-world context and gain confidence in using English. Let's consider another situation where asking for help can make your life easier. Imagine you're trying to cook dinner for yourself, but you're not very experienced in the kitchen. You've decided to make spaghetti, but you're not sure how to cook the pasta properly or what the right amount of seasoning is. Instead of guessing, you decide to ask your friend Alex for help. You call him up and say, "Hey Alex, I'm trying to cook spaghetti, but I'm not sure how long to cook the pasta, and I'm worried I might overcook it. Can you give me some advice?" Alex, being an expert in the kitchen, offers you some helpful tips. He explains that the pasta should be cooked for around 10 minutes and suggests a simple seasoning blend. He also tells you that a little bit of olive oil can make the pasta even better. Thanks to Alex's help, you end up with a delicious meal that you're proud of. In this situation, asking for help not only improved your cooking skills, but also helped you learn some key vocabulary related to food and cooking. Words like spaghetti, cook, pasta, seasoning, and olive oil are essential in the kitchen, and by asking for help, you learned how to use them in context. Asking Alex for help also gave you the opportunity to practice polite phrases such as, "Can you give me some advice?" and "I'm not sure how to." These are useful expressions to know when you need assistance with anything, from cooking to problem solving in everyday life. Now let's imagine you're working on a group project with your classmates in an English class, and you're struggling to understand some of the material. You feel a little embarrassed because you're the only one in the group who seems to be having difficulty. But instead of keeping quiet and struggling on your own, you decide to ask your group member, Ben, for help. You say, "Hey Ben, I'm having some trouble understanding the chapter we're working on. Can you explain it to me in a simpler way?" Ben is more than happy to help and takes the time to break down the concepts for you in a way that makes sense. He also gives you some useful study tips to help you in the future. With Ben's help, you feel much more confident about the project, and you're able to contribute to the group discussion. Asking for help in this academic scenario helps you improve your English in several ways. First, you practice how to ask for clarification when you don't understand something, which is a crucial skill for any English learner. Phrases like, "Can you explain it to me in a simpler way?" and "I'm having trouble understanding" are very useful when you're struggling to understand a concept or piece of information. Second, you learn new vocabulary related to the subject you're studying. Whether you're working on a project in history, science, or literature, asking for help allows you to gain new terms and understand them in context. Another important example of asking for help is when you're traveling abroad. Let's say you're visiting a foreign country and you want to try a traditional dish, but you're not sure how to order it or what ingredients are used. You decide to ask the waiter for help. You say, "Hi, I'd like to try the local dish, but I'm not sure how to order it. Could you tell me what's in it and how to say it in English?" The waiter explains the ingredients, and even though the dish is unfamiliar, you feel more comfortable ordering it because you know exactly what it contains. Thanks to the waiter's help, you have a memorable dining experience. In this situation, you're not only improving your speaking skills by asking for help, but you're also learning valuable vocabulary related to food, such as ingredients, local dish, and order. These words are essential when traveling, and by practicing them, you become more confident in using them in other situations. Additionally, asking for help in a restaurant can help you practice polite phrases such as, "Could you tell me?" and "I'd like to try." Let's take a moment to think about a more personal situation where asking for help can improve your life. Imagine you're experiencing some stress at work and you're feeling overwhelmed with the tasks at hand. You've got a big project coming up and it's becoming too much to handle alone. Instead of pushing through on your own, you decide to talk to your manager, David, and ask for help. You say, "David, I've been feeling a little overwhelmed with my workload. Could we discuss how I can manage my tasks more effectively?" David listens to your concerns and offers some strategies for staying organized and prioritizing tasks. With David's support, you feel better equipped to handle your responsibilities. This situation is a great example of how asking for help can reduce stress and improve your mental well-being. You learn how to express your feelings, ask for support, and receive guidance, all of which are important communication skills in both professional and personal contexts. In this case, you also learn useful work-related vocabulary such as overwhelmed, workload, manage, and prioritize, which you can use in similar situations in the future. In each of these scenarios, asking for help is more than just about getting assistance. It's about learning new skills, expanding your vocabulary, and building your confidence in English. Whether you're asking for help in the kitchen, at work, or when traveling, the ability to express your ICAR needs clearly is essential to making your life easier and more enjoyable. Each time you practice asking for help, you're not just improving your English, but you're also becoming more comfortable in everyday situations, ready to take on new challenges with confidence. Keep practicing these scenarios, and you'll see how asking for help can transform your learning experience and your life. Let's dive deeper into how asking for help can not only improve your English skills, but also make you feel more confident in different real-life situations. Every time you ask for help, you're practicing something important. Clear communication. This ability to express yourself is essential when you're learning a new language. It can help you in social situations, at work, in education, and even when you're traveling or facing a challenge. Asking for help might seem like a small thing, but it's actually a skill that can open doors to new experiences and opportunities. Now, let's imagine you are at work and you're struggling with a new project. You've just joined a marketing team, and there's a major campaign coming up. You're given a task that seems a bit complicated. The instructions are not clear, and you're unsure how to approach it. Instead of stressing out and trying to figure everything out on your own, you decide to ask your colleague, Emily, for help. You walk up to her and say, "Hey, Emily, I'm working on the new campaign, but I'm not sure where to start. Can you explain how I can approach this?" Emily smiles and offers to guide you through the steps. She breaks down the task into smaller parts and gives you advice on how to create a strategy. She even shares some tools that might make the process easier. Thanks to Emily's help, you're able to complete the task efficiently and with confidence. By asking Emily for help, you not only got the guidance you needed, but also learned new vocabulary related to marketing, such as campaign, strategy, approach, and tools. These words will come in handy in the future, and now you feel more confident in your ability to handle similar tasks. The key takeaway here is that asking for help doesn't just make things easier. It helps you learn new things and build your vocabulary in the process. In a different scenario, let's say you're at home and you're trying to assemble a new piece of furniture. You've read the instructions, but they're confusing and you're not sure if you're doing it right. After a few minutes of trying to figure it out, you realize you need help. So, you decide to call your neighbor Jack, who's good with tools and DIY projects. You say, "Hey Jack, I'm trying to put together this shelf, but the instructions are a bit unclear. Do you think you could help me out?" Jack is happy to help and comes over with a smile. He shows you how to put the pieces together step by step, making sure everything fits perfectly. Thanks to Jack's help, the shelf is finally assembled, and you feel proud of your work. In this situation, asking for help not only made your task easier, but also helped you learn practical vocabulary related to tools and DIY work, such as assemble, instructions, tools, and step-by-step. These are useful words when you're dealing with tasks at home, and by asking Jack for help, you learned how to use them in context. Asking for help in everyday situations like this builds your confidence in both speaking and understanding English. Let's think about another real-life situation, this time related to health. Imagine you're feeling unwell and don't know whether it's something serious or just a minor issue. You're unsure whether you should go to the doctor or wait for it to get better on its own. So you decide to ask your spouse, Sarah, for advice. You say, "Sarah, I'm not feeling great. Do you think I should go to the doctor, or is this something I can wait out?" Sarah, being very thoughtful, listens to your symptoms and suggests that you see a doctor to be sure. She explains how to make an appointment and even offers to come with you for support. Thanks to Sarah's help, you take the necessary steps to take care of your health. In this case, asking for help not only gave you the information you needed to make the right decision, but it also allowed you to practice important health-related vocabulary. Words like unwell, symptoms, doctor, appointment, and support are useful in any health-related situation. When you ask someone for advice, especially about something as important as your health, you're practicing polite and considerate language, which is essential in English. Asking for help doesn't just make tasks easier, it can also open up opportunities for learning. Let's say you're visiting a new country and you're unfamiliar with the local language. You need to get directions to a popular tourist attraction, but you're not sure how to ask. You walk up to a local named Robert and say, "Excuse me, Robert, I'm trying to find the city museum. Can you please give me directions?" Robert smiles and provides you with clear directions, explaining how to take the bus and where to get off. He even gives you a few landmarks to watch for. Thanks to Robert's help, you're able to visit the museum and enjoy the local culture. This situation is another great example of how asking for help can improve your English. You learned how to ask for directions in a polite and clear way. By asking Robert for help, you also learned important phrases like, "Excuse me, can you please give me directions?" and landmarks. These phrases are essential when you're traveling and need assistance. Asking for help in these situations is a practical way to improve your speaking and listening skills. Another example comes from the workplace. Imagine you're working in a customer service role, and a customer asks you for assistance. The customer speaks quickly, and you don't fully understand their request. Instead of pretending you understand, you decide to ask for clarification. You say, "I'm sorry. Could you please repeat that? I didn't catch everything." The customer repeats their request more slowly, and you're able to help them resolve the issue. By asking for clarification, you not only provided excellent service, but you also practiced important communication skills in English. In this example, asking for help in the form of clarification was key to getting the job done. You learned phrases like, "Could you please repeat that?" and "I didn't catch everything," which are valuable in any customer service scenario. Asking for help in situations like this also helps you understand the value of active listening and being patient, both of which are essential skills when speaking English. Let's consider another example where asking for help can benefit your education. Suppose you're in an English class and you're struggling with a particular grammar point. You're not sure when to use the past simple tense versus the present perfect tense, and it's confusing you. You ask your teacher, Mr. Smith, for help. You say, "Mr. Smith, I'm having difficulty understanding when to use the past simple tense and the present perfect. Could you explain it to me again?" Mr. Smith is more than happy to help. He gives you examples and explains the differences clearly. Thanks to his help, you now understand the difference and feel more confident using both tenses in your writing and speaking. This scenario is a great example of how asking for help in an educational context can improve your grammar and vocabulary. You not only learned about past simple and present perfect tenses, but also practiced how to ask for clarification in English. Phrases like, "I'm having difficulty understanding," and "Could you explain it to me again?" are useful when you need help in any subject. Let's think about yet another scenario where asking for help can make your life easier. Imagine you're trying to plan a family gathering, and you're feeling overwhelmed with all the things to organize. You need to figure out what food to prepare, how many guests will attend, and where to host the event. Instead of trying to do everything yourself, you decide to ask your husband, Michael, for help. You say, "Michael, I need your help planning the family gathering. Can you help me figure out the food and guest list?" Michael agrees and offers to handle the guest list while you take care of the food. Thanks to his help, the planning becomes much easier, and the gathering is a success. In this situation, asking for help allowed you to tackle a big task in a more manageable way. You learned how to express your needs and delegate responsibilities. Words like planning, gathering, guest list, and delegate are useful when organizing events, and by asking Michael for help, you practiced. Let's continue to explore more examples of how asking for help in English can enhance not just your listening and speaking skills, but also your overall confidence. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to navigate different situations where you might need support, whether it's for work, school, or just daily life. And it's important to remember that each time you ask for help, you are engaging in real conversations, which is one of the best ways to improve your English. Let's imagine a situation where you're having trouble understanding a concept in your studies. You're studying biology and there's a topic on cell division that just doesn't make sense. It's filled with difficult terms, and no matter how many times you read the textbook, it's still unclear. Instead of getting frustrated or giving up, you decide to ask your classmate James for help. You say, James, I'm really having trouble understanding cell division. Could you explain it to me in a simpler way? James, who is great at explaining things, gives you a breakdown of the topic, using easier language and even showing you some helpful diagrams. Thanks to his help, you start to understand the concept better, and you feel more confident for the upcoming exam. This scenario is a perfect example of how asking for help can deepen your understanding of complex topics. When you ask someone to explain something to you, you not only get clarity, but you also have the chance to practice new vocabulary in context. In this case, you learned phrases like having trouble understanding, explain it to me, and in a simpler way. These are useful phrases when you need to clarify anything, whether in school or in your professional life. Plus, by engaging in these conversations, you are also practicing your listening skills, as you have to carefully listen to the explanation and absorb the new information. Now, let's think about a scenario in your personal life where asking for help might be essential. You've decided to bake a cake for a family event. It's your first time baking a cake from scratch, and you're feeling a little unsure about the process. The recipe looks straightforward, but you're not confident in your baking skills. So, you ask your Aunt Sarah for assistance. You say, Aunt Sarah, I'm trying to bake a cake, but I'm not sure if I'm doing everything right. Could you help me? Sarah is happy to help and walks you through the steps, giving you tips on how to measure ingredients properly, mix the batter, and bake the cake to perfection. By the time you're done, you've successfully baked a delicious cake, and you feel proud of your accomplishment. In this case, asking for help was the key to completing your task successfully. You not only learned how to bake a cake, but also picked up some useful vocabulary related to cooking, such as ingredients, mix, and measure. You also got to practice phrases like, could you help me? And I'm not sure if I'm doing everything right. These are everyday phrases that you can use in various contexts. Whether you're asking for help with a hobby, a task, or any new experience you encounter. Asking for help in this way boosts your confidence and helps you build your vocabulary in practical, real-world situations. Moving on to another example, let's say you're at work and you're given a new project that involves using a software tool you're not familiar with. You've heard of the tool before, but you've never had to use it yourself. You try to figure it out on your own, but it's a bit complicated. Instead of wasting too much time trying to figure it out on your own, you decide to ask your colleague, Peter, who is an expert with the software. You say, Peter, I'm having a little trouble with the new tool. Do you have a few minutes to show me how it works? Peter, always helpful, agrees to show you the basics of the software, walking you through the main features and how to navigate it efficiently. Thanks to Peter's help, you quickly get the hang of the tool, and you're able to complete your project on time and with ease. This example highlights how asking for help in a professional setting can make a huge difference in your productivity. Not only did you learn how to use a new tool, but you also picked up useful vocabulary related to technology and work. Words like software, features, and navigate are essential when you're working in any job that requires technology. Plus, by asking for help in this situation, you were able to save time and energy, which allowed you to complete your tasks more efficiently. In the next example, let's consider a situation where asking for help can be helpful in a travel context. You're traveling to a new city and you've just arrived at the airport. You're trying to figure out how to get to your hotel, but you're a little confused about the public transportation system. You've never used the bus or subway in this city before, and the signs are in a language you're not familiar with. Instead of trying to figure it out on your own and risking getting lost, you decide to ask a local for help. You approach a friendly person named Chris and you ask, "Hi, could you please help me? I'm trying to get to my hotel, but I'm not sure which bus to take. Can you give me directions?" Chris smiles and gives you clear instructions on which bus to take, and where to get off. Thanks to his help, you're able to find your way to the hotel without any issues. Asking for help in this situation not only saved you time and stress, but also allowed you to practice important travel-related vocabulary. Words like bus, subway, directions, and get off are crucial when you're traveling and need assistance. Plus, by asking a local for help, you practiced using polite and clear language, which is an essential skill when you're in a new place. This example shows how asking for help can make travel much easier and more enjoyable, while also improving your English skills in the process. Now, let's look at a situation that involves giving and receiving feedback. Imagine you've been working on a project for weeks and you finally completed it. You feel proud of your work, but you're not entirely sure if it's up to the standard your boss expects. Instead of submitting the project without knowing, you ask your colleague Lucy for feedback. You say, "Lucy, I finished my project, but I'd love your opinion. Do you think I could improve anything before I send it to my boss?" Lucy reviews your work and offers helpful suggestions on how to make it even better. She points out a few areas where you can add more detail and gives you some tips on how to refine your writing. Thanks to Lucy's feedback, you're able to make the necessary changes and submit a much stronger project. In this situation, asking for help in the form of feedback not only improved your work, but also gave you the opportunity to practice new vocabulary related to giving and receiving feedback. Phrases like, "I'd love your opinion," "Could I improve anything," and "offer suggestions" are all useful in both professional and personal contexts. This example shows how asking for feedback helps you grow and improve your skills, whether it's related to your job, your hobbies, or any other area of life. Let's take another example where asking for help can be beneficial in your personal life. Suppose you're trying to learn how to play a musical instrument, like the guitar. You've been practicing on your own for a while, but you're struggling to get the notes right. You know a friend named Mark who's an experienced guitarist, so you decide to ask him for help. You say, "Mark, I'm having a hard time with my guitar playing. Do you think you could show me a few tips to improve?" Mark agrees and shows you a few techniques, like how to position your fingers correctly and how to strum more smoothly. Thanks to his help, you start to play the guitar more confidently. This situation demonstrates how asking for help can make a big difference when you're learning something new. By asking Mark for help, you were able to improve your skills and practice important musical vocabulary. Words like strum, techniques, and position are essential when learning to play an instrument, and by seeking help, you learned how to use them in a meaningful way. Let's continue exploring even more ways asking for help in English can improve not only your understanding of the language, but also your confidence in real-world situations. Each time you ask for assistance, whether it's for a work project, a new skill, or just understanding something better, you're actively participating in conversations. This participation helps build your vocabulary, improve your listening comprehension, and give you the opportunity to learn English in a practical, natural setting. Think about a situation where you need help with something as simple as directions. Imagine you're in a new neighborhood, and you're trying to find a restaurant you've been excited to visit. You've been walking around for a while, but can't seem to find it. Instead of getting frustrated, you decide to ask a local for help. You approach someone and ask, "Excuse me, could you tell me the way to the Blue Ribbon restaurant? I've been walking for a while and I'm a little lost." The person smiles and gives you clear directions, saying, "Sure, go straight ahead. For 2 blocks, then take a left. It'll be on your right." Thanks to their help, you easily find your way, and you've learned how to ask for directions in English as well. Asking for directions is a simple yet very practical way to practice your English skills. Words like straight ahead, turn left, and on your right are commonly used in daily life, especially when you're navigating a new place. Asking for help in this context not only gets you to your destination, but also boosts your vocabulary for describing locations and movements. You'll find that over time, You become more comfortable navigating new places in English because you're consistently practicing these useful expressions. Now let's move to a more professional situation where asking for help could be extremely useful. Imagine you're working at a new company, and you've just been assigned a task involving some software you're unfamiliar with. You've tried to use it on your own, but you're having trouble understanding the features. Instead of wasting time trying to figure it out alone, you decide to ask your coworker, Emily, for help. You go up to her and say, "Hey, Emily, I'm having some trouble with the new project management tool. Could you show me how to use it more effectively?" Emily is more than happy to help. She takes you through the basic features of the tool, showing you how to create tasks, assign them to others, and track progress. Thanks to her assistance, you now feel confident using the tool, and your work is much more efficient. In this example, asking for help was not only a time saver, but also a great way to practice technical vocabulary and workplace communication. Phrases like project management tool, assign tasks, and track progress are essential in many jobs today. By asking for help, you practice these words in context, making it easier for you to use them in your future work-related conversations. Furthermore, Emily's willingness to help demonstrated a positive aspect of workplace culture: collaboration. This can encourage you to feel comfortable asking questions when you need assistance, knowing that it's a part of learning and growing in your career. Let's consider another situation where asking for help can be crucial, when you're trying to understand a difficult article or a complicated text. Suppose you've been reading a news article about economics, but you don't understand some of the terms and ideas. You've tried looking up some of the words, but it's still difficult to grasp the full meaning. Instead of continuing to feel confused, you decide to ask your friend Daniel for help. You ask him, "Daniel, I'm reading this article on economics, but I don't understand some of the terms like inflation and supply chain. Could you explain them to me?" Daniel is happy to help and explains each term in simple language, giving you a better understanding of the topic. By the end of the conversation, you not only understand the article, but also learn new vocabulary related to economics. This is another great example of how asking for help can expand your vocabulary and understanding of complex subjects. Words like inflation, supply chain, and economics are important to know, especially when you want to stay informed on global events. Asking someone for clarification helps you break down these complex topics into manageable pieces, and in the process, you gain a deeper understanding of the subject. Plus, you learn how to use these new terms in conversations, which makes them stick in your memory. Another excellent scenario to look at involves asking for help when you're trying to learn a new skill. Let's say you've recently taken up photography and are learning how to take better photos. You've been reading books and watching videos online, but there are still some aspects of photography that you don't fully understand. One of your friends, Sarah, is a professional photographer. You decide to ask her for guidance. You say, "Sarah, I've been practicing photography, but I'm struggling with how to use the manual settings on my camera. Could you show me what each setting does and how to use them?" Sarah is excited to help and takes the time to explain things like aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, showing you how they all work together to create a great photo. Thanks to her help, you gain a better understanding of the technical side of photography and feel more confident taking photos. This scenario is a great example of how asking for help can accelerate your learning process. When you ask someone with more experience to guide you, you can learn faster and more effectively. In addition to improving your photography skills, you also pick up useful vocabulary like aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, which are essential for understanding the technical side of photography. By asking for help in this situation, you not only gain new knowledge, but also build your confidence in using the language related to your new hobby. Let's shift gears and think about how asking for help can be a game changer in social situations as well. Imagine you're attending a party and you don't know many people. You're feeling a bit shy and unsure of how to start conversations. Instead of sitting by yourself, you decide to ask a fellow guest, Mark, for help. You approach him and say, "Hey Mark, I'm not really sure how to start a conversation with people here. Do you have any tips on how to break the ice?" Mark smiles and gives you a few tips on how to introduce yourself and ask people about their hobbies or interests. With his advice, you start to feel more comfortable approaching others, and soon you're having great conversations with different people at the party. This example shows that asking for help doesn't just apply to academic or work-related situations. It's also useful in social settings, where you might need some guidance on how to interact with new people. Phrases like break the ice, start a conversation, and introduce yourself are key to social interactions. And by asking for help, you learn how to use them in a relaxed and friendly way. Once you've practiced these phrases, you'll feel more confident when meeting new people in any situation, whether it's a party, a networking event, or even at the gym. Lastly, let's look at a situation where asking for help can be crucial for personal well-being. Imagine you're feeling overwhelmed by everything going on in your life: work, family responsibilities, and social obligations. It's starting to feel like too much to handle on your own. Instead of keeping all your feelings to yourself, you decide to talk to your brother, James. You say, "James, I'm feeling really overwhelmed with everything lately. I could use some advice on how to manage everything. Do you have any tips on how to stay organized and not feel so stressed?" James listens carefully and gives you some great advice, like prioritizing tasks, taking breaks, and not being afraid to ask for help when needed. With his guidance, you start to feel more in control and less stressed. This is an example of how asking for help can support your mental health and well-being. It's important to remember that everyone goes through tough times, and asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Phrases like overwhelmed, prioritize, and take breaks are valuable in conversations about mental health. And by asking for help, you learn how to use